Good morning and good morning. Okay. Today I'm in my kitchen because, Sally, okay, is out there. And I'm in obviously I'm in the Northwest Florida area and the Gulf Coast, which is Pensacola. And it's just raining and it's extremely dark. So I came into my kitchen, hopingly, I hope, hopefully, I meant to say, we will have the connection remain through this presentation. But if not, you can say, well, she started, she just didn't finish. She didn't finish. But anyway, good morning and good morning. Hoping you're having a good day wherever you are. Hoping you're safe. Hoping you're feeling well, feeling good, having done some things already with the week, even though it just started yesterday, that you're feeling good. You're feeling good. So today, I thought I'd bring my some pop color only because, good morning, Jamie, my niece. How are you, darling? Um, Hi, Auntie. That's so sweet. But anyway, it's just I'm so happy to be here. And so today we're going to talk about sew, not the SEW, okay? Because we know that's with the darning and that's with the stitching and stuff. We're going to talk about SOW. And SOW really speaks to how we put some things together for the purposes of life. It's not just about, you. It's about what you might be able to do for yourself while doing for others. And yes, JB, that is soul. That is soul. No, not SOUL, SOW. SOW, yes. So anyway, we're going to start with the poem. I always like to start with a poem, and this one is called The Sewing. I'm put on my glasses. I'm going to look intellectual for about 5 seconds here. It says The Sewing by by Gabriel Alexander. It says, let us practice resurrection. Let us sow our shadowed recollections. Let us breathe life into those broken images, for there is glory in the flowering, and we will dream a dream of spring. In the sowing is our memory of the dim, vast veil of tears, the visionary gleam of unremembered seasons so solemn and serene. We are the way and the wayfarers, as the lone and the level sands stretch far away. But here at home we will till and toil. Here we heed the song of the soil. And so we collect our winged seeds with all the works and days of hands, scattered fragments of our spirit, and like some distant ancient anointing, we are poured out like water, and we are sown throughout the land. So this sown really talks about, or the sow is really talking about spreading something, a seedling, a vast array of opportunity is what this sow is all about. Because sometimes it says if you plant the seed, it will grow. And then you prune it back and it will grow more. And then you take that seed. It's something like what birds do when they pollinate. Okay, they keep moving stuff from one area to another area, and eventually the areas get larger and larger. So you have more flowers. You have more things out there with the same initiative of looking at what sow does. Sow does a lot. And it's really, really a positive thing when we talk about sow. And sometimes we don't always get down to sow. We may stop at only ourselves. We may know stuff, but if we pass it on, somebody else might be able to use it. And so we are sowing something. We are seeding for the future. So I'm going to ask you this before we go too far. Are you stuck? Periodically, we do get stuck. Periodically, we get caught up in our own mess. We get caught up in so many things that other people introduce us to. They go on and move forward, but we get stuck. We get stuck. We get stuck with thinking that they're coming back. We get stuck with thinking that that we got this all together, and that things are going to be all right. And sometimes we have to talk about what that stuff does to us, and it doesn't sometimes allow us to sow because we're stuck. We're just in the middle of ourselves. So we don't ever pollinate. We don't ever seed forward. Yes, stuck. Yes, yes. And Sally has us stuck. You got that right. Sally, 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 I tell you. And Sally's supposed to be a slow, lingering process of moving through. So therefore, it's saying that Sally may be around for 2-3 days of 48 hours of just rain. So therefore, yes, we will be stuck for a minute. But when we talk about sow is to plant the seeds. It talks about setting things in motion. Or it could be an emotion or a feeling that will grow in intensity in somebody else. So you can grow in intensity in us. Like, people can inspire you with words. They can inspire you with deeds. They can inspire you with just visionary stuff. You see stuff and that's it. You know that that's for you. So it talks about how to scatter over land or into persons for growth. And so that's what we're talking about today. How can we grow ourselves in spite of our being occasionally stuck? And it says, so in this case, sowing is to implant something, to introduce something, to promulgate something, to extend, to disseminate, to broadcast, to spread, to strew, to distribute, to drill, and to dibble. So all these talk about what sow and sowing can do for ourselves and for others if we're given that time, and we take the time to sow. Because some of us don't sow. We don't try to leave good information for others. The information is always for ourselves. And sometimes if we can spread it out a little bit, good morning, Joan, and we add something, we add some texture, we add some, what I call some quantity and some quality to what it is that we're sowing, then people can get it. They can get it because they understand it. So when we start with the S of sow, we're talking about to spread something. Now we're not just talking about spreading something on bread. We're talking about spreading something that is important, spreading something that, like information that is good information, that puts people in a position of allowing them to know more, such as every time I hear about a scholarship that I think some people are ready to apply for, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to do that. So it talks about to spread is to open out something. Excuse me. So as to extend its surface area. It's to widen something. It's to lengthen something. It's to lay it out. It's to unfurl it, to unroll it, to roll out, to shake it out, to fan it out, to outspread. So basically it talks about having something grow. To me, my prayer is that whatever I'm talking to you about, you'll tell others about, and you say, hey, that's pretty good stuff. I don't get everything they say every day, but some days I've gotten some things, so then I can take it and I can sow something out of it. And that's what my sessions are I hope are doing, is spreading the word that I've been given. God gave me this opportunity to come on and be fearless about what I feel could be spread, what I feel could help people get unstuck, and really talk about where we can go forward. And so that's the plan, as they say. That is definitely the plan. So the next area of spread for sow is objective. We need to be objective when we're looking at spreading anything that we're sowing. So therefore, we don't need to be so critical. We don't need to be so biased that we formed an opinion within whatever we're spreading. In this case, we want to be objective. It says something that one's efforts or actions are intended to attain or accomplish for a purpose. So that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at something that's going to halt people, something that's going to slow people up, something that's going to hurt people, something that's going to put people in a position of feeling uh, left out, devastated, anguished. No, just the opposite. We're looking at something that positively, revs people up to want to do what's next for themselves. And this sessions that I do is it's always about you. It is always going to be about you. So it talks about the actions are intended to attain, to accomplish the purpose, the goal, and the target. It's supposed to be even-handed, meaning I'm trying it, but I want you to not just try it, I want you to do it. It says nonpartisan, meaning I'm not taking sides. I'm going to give you something. I want you to form your own side, form your own opinion. It's the same thing about voting. I just want you to vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I hope you would vote. I hope you would exercise your right, exercise the opportunity that our, ancestors always didn't have opportunity for. I mean, women, come on now, women didn't have a platform. When voting started, women weren't there. They were not there. So, that's what the women's suffrage came about. And then after that, there's just been so many other things. Civil Rights Act. So many things have brought some inclusion. But even in that, we've not always exercised the right that we had. Or we were already what I would call deeply disenfranchised by some of the things that happened to us. Incarcerations with felony charges. And, once you're a convicted felon, you can no longer vote. You can no longer run for public office. So there's a lot of what I would call timber that's put down on the land that you're in. So you have to decide, what do I want to do? How do I want to go about doing it? Who can I do it with? And so sometimes we have to be objective before we know even why. I always tell young people when I'm talking to them that you don't even know that one little hiccup, mess up early on. I don't know what, have a tickle in my throat, may force you to have an issue. So when we talk about being objective, it talks about really being unbiased, having an equitable treatment towards something, being detached from the issue enough where you can present it the way it's supposed to present it, and not from a bias, a bias point. I don't know what happened this morning. I'm not sick. I feel fine. But anyway, the last word for sow, which is SOW, is wealth. Now, a lot of times we speak of wealth and we're looking at, the Buffetts, the Gates, the Trumps, people that have money, the Kardashians. I have to bring it down to the younger people level. People that have money. But it's not about money. Wealth can come from other areas. Wealth can come from knowledge. You may have wealth just in the knowledge that you know and how you use it. Okay, it says it's an abundance of valuable material possession. Material. Your mind, that's your material. Okay, your heart, that's your material. So it's not just about, currency. It's not just about the money that we get for who we are or what somebody was willing to pay us for. Because a lot of times the things that people are willing to pay you for may be compromising to the person that you are. Just may be. So it talks about these possessions and these resources. So to me, to be able to have learned something, like to me, to sit up under a person that has lived a long life, that became wise in their living and really was able to provide assistance to the younger generation. To me, that's wealth. That is wealth. That's one of my forms of wealth. Oh yeah, I would love to have several $1 million in the bank and be sitting on, huge property with, servants and stuff. That would be nice. That would be nice. But it wasn't the life I was given. So therefore, I have to understand the means that I live in and sow what I can So I'm always sowing to the younger generation, just letting them know that you can always have dreams of being, a basketball star, football, fashion designer, singer, whatever. All those things, because I believe that we have been given an abundance of talent. It doesn't mean that there's enough room at what I call the top, for you to maybe get there. Because some people have probably done some probably things that they feel sorry about just to move that way. And others, they didn't have to do much of anything. It may have been how they looked. It may have been that somebody bought their way in. That's just the way it is, okay? And we understand that. But to me, the wealth that you have and can give away is the things that you own. And the things that you own is your mind. You can give people some information that can make them flourish. Even if you don't go higher, the fact that you're giving other people information is vitally important, just vital. You can't do anything. And I've always, good morning, Maurice, I have always made sure I had people that were smarter than me. Always, always. I thought I was okay, but they never let me down, because they always encouraged me to live my life. It says a quote, when life gives you lemons, make it lemonade. Absolutely, absolutely. You turn a frown into a smile, constantly moving in your own direction. A lot of times we live through other people. And I think vicariously that's a good thing. If they're living a life that you see, you want to somewhat emulate. Like I think the persons that I've always been to, and I have several that I have looked up to. It's like what Maya Angelou was to Oprah Winfrey. When you have somebody that's lived a life, and there may be some humbleness to it, maybe not. You take the pieces off that you can use that are worth sowing forward. And that's what I've done all my life, And I've always had this thing for people that were much older than myself, women. Always, 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 always. In fact, one of them passed away. I think I told you about that about 3 weeks ago. And she was 92. My other friend was 87. My other one was 96. So for me to be in the company of someone that has been able to live long, they're going to tell you not only some stories of how they lived, but what they lived through. To me, that's something that has been sown forward with you. So you now have some information that you know how to. It may be something you have to get away from, go around, or it may be something that you go right into to take it forward for the next generation that's going to follow you. Eventually, there's always going to be somebody that will follow you, and they will follow somebody else, and so forth and so on. So it's always somebody to leave information to. To me, that is wealth. So wealth is talking about being rich and being affluent. So to me, you can be affluent. I feel myself to be affluent, and I don't have much. Okay? I don't. I have what God has given me, and I do share. Okay? But a lot of times the very affluent do not share, because there's also a mindset with the rich becoming richer. And they said, like, even now, I just took a class online, and it was talking about poverty. And it says during this pandemic, it says prior to the pandemic, there was a huge gap between those in poverty and those who were rich. Well, now there's been a mega shift even from that, because they said the poverty level has doubled. So the people that had jobs and lost them due to the pandemic, they've become a part of those who were already impoverished. So, you really have to talk about and understand that to sow forward is to try to help as best you can. And, like I gave everybody a challenge the week before last was to, if you had a little something and you saw somebody on the street, that you could give them something. And I know several of you said that you did. I have continued to do that only because I figure if I have, $5, I can give them two. I can give them two. And to me, that is sowing. That is sowing. I don't really care. You can't be caring about what they do with it. Because sometimes my mother, I always remember my mother saying that, I know they probably going to get something to drink with it. But my prayer is that they're going to get something to eat with it. Okay? Or they'll go have some place to stay tonight. So sometimes you have to put yourself in a position of not worrying about what's going to be done with what you're seeding, what you're sowing with somebody else. You just stay on the side of, I did my part. I did my part. And a lot of times we don't do that. We don't do our part. We just feel that, well, I'm not going to help them. Help them. Help them. That and have a prayer behind it. That God will bless, that God will turn them around, that God will give them that this would be the last time, or that they already done their last time and you were the one that helped them along the way. That would be great. So anyway, it talks about it's a great amount of profusion when someone has this wealth, but they can also have a wealth of advice, and that's what I'm asking you all to do. We can't say we're in on the money because we're not. Y'all here talking to me. Y'all be sitting in somebody else's company instead of thinking about it's the money that I have. But you would be considered rich if you met a person that had absolutely nothing. Would you not? You would. You would be considered a rich person because they have nothing. And so to me, to share something that you have with somebody that has nothing or so much less is certainly important. That's the sowing. It says, so anyway, we can sow these things. We can sow money, of course, happiness. We can try to assist with people becoming happy. We can give of our time. We can nurse people to health if it's possible. If it's possible. And sometimes health starts with a smile. Sometimes people have not even had a smile for the day. They don't know anybody who smiles at them because they feel down and everybody else feels down around them, or they feel down when they see them. Sometimes our the affect on our face gives a way of how we feel about what we see. It says also you can have a wealth with your attitude, your relationships. That's wealth. If you have good relationships, you are wealthy. Okay? A love ship, a friendship, a kindship. Okay? That is sowing forward. Because you can go forward on the fact I didn't get to see him, but I heard from him. Okay? Didn't get to talk to him, but I text him. Okay? And I let him know that I still love him. I let him know I still care. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It says also you can have wealth with your lifestyle. You don't have to live, good morning, T. You don't have to live a sorrowful lifestyle. If all you have is very simplistic things, then you can live simplistically and be fine. And be fine. You can always search out for more. You can do it. Good morning, Iselina. And Deborah. Good morning, ladies. So here it is that when you're looking at wealth, your wealth is who you are. The wealth is what you can do for someone else, no matter how small. Because it's not just about the money. It's not. It's about how kind you are, about how caring you are, how loving you are, how giving you are. All those things speak to your wealth that you give away. Okay? And to me, when you give something away, you've sown a seed. Hey, you've sown a seed, and when you give something away, and as I said, you can't worry about what they do with it, okay? Because I've given people stuff, and they told me that they sold it. They said, I needed the money. Well, the next time I probably give them something, I'll probably just give them the money, because, sometimes people will let you know what they don't want, and that's out of frustration, I feel. Sometimes people just are frustrated about the fact that what you sold to them You sown it. You sold it out to them that they didn't want it. And that's okay. That's okay, but you did your part. You did your part in trying to do something. But it says you can also look at wealth being peace of mind. How many of you know, if you know that when you go to bed at night and you're not worried about anything, that is part of your wealth, your healthiness of living. You can write it in the thread. I know for myself, when I'm not worried about anything, when I feel that God's given me all that I need, I feel wealthy. I feel wealthy. I feel that he's given me an opportunity to go to bed and really rest. But when we're worried about things out of our control, about things that we want for other people, sometimes we don't get any resolve with that. We don't. And so we have to just take it upon ourselves to decide what it is we will stand for. And praying about it is important, but also just acknowledging the fact that when I lay down, I can get me some rest tonight, and it's not just from tired rest. It's like I'm actually getting peaceful rest, a peaceful rest. And it says also having anything that you desire. Now let's face it, a lot of us desire a lot of things, and we desire a lot of things for other people. It doesn't mean they want them. It may mean that they need them, but sometimes you have to let people arrive at what their needs are by themselves. They don't, we might say, I would love for them to go back to school and finish up, but, it may be that money is the issue in that instance, or that they needed a tutor to finish something, or some things happened, that just too much family, too many kids, a relationship that's run amok. You never know why people get stuck in their situations. But if you sow the seed, letting them know that when you're ready, I'll try to help, or I'll do as best I can. I don't know how I'll be at that time. I don't know if I'll have money. I don't know if I'll have time. I don't know if I will always have the love, and the care. But I don't know about some of the other things, because we also have to understand that we're human and things come on us too. Just like we want to help, sometimes we need the help. We need somebody to come to our rescue, to help us out of our darkness, to help us out of our pain, our hurt, our issues. We're no different than anybody else. But when it talks about our wealth, we also talk about a successful life. And success to me is it's modulated, because it's based on what it is that you bring to life, what it is that you want out of life. And Jones says peace of mind is nourishment for the brain. Absolutely. When you go to sleep at night and you really, really sleep, guess what? Your brain gets that rest. And they said in order for the brain to continue to revive its cells, that it has to get the rest it requires. And sometimes we don't always do that. Sometimes we're up all night just worrying about stuff that we cannot control. We can't even control how we feel at times, because sometimes we may feel so bad, or we may be so happy. Sometimes happiness can be a disturbance too, because we're so happy we don't ever let anybody else rest. And then in the process, we don't rest. So, you just never know. But to me, it has more to do with life than money to me. Now, that's my interpretation. If you think wealth has only to do with money, you put it in the thread. Most of you probably are like me, thinking, I don't have a lot of money, so I got to find my wealth other ways. I have to find it. I have to be satisfied. I have to understand that this is what I was given, and I must work with what I was given. I used to counsel, young ladies and young men too, who had what I called a distorted look of themselves, a distorted view. They thought themselves to be different than what they actually were. Even though they didn't have money, they spent like they had a lot of money. And how they get to my office is because they overspent their money and were being brought up on charges, and in instances where it might affect their future of being free, of being comfortable, of being in a position to even make money to pay some things back. But sometimes you try to let people know that, okay, I want you to lay out the picture. Now let's look at the picture, you know. And you're in the picture and you've become very small to all the things that you owe, you know. If you only make so much money but you have debt, you know, that's huge, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt, and you know your wages are being garnished, and you're being taken to court, and you're constantly in some, you know, law clerks, you know, callback number, and you're being harassed. To me, your wealth, you don't have your peace of mind. You spent out all the money that you could have at least been, what I would say, you know your length, you know your width, you know where you stand, you know. And young people, sometimes they get money and they go right through it. You know, my mother used to say money burns a hole in their pocket. They get it on Friday, it's gone by Monday, you know, and they live paycheck to paycheck. And that's just the way life is for certain people. I don't want to live like that. I wanna to be where and I pass this on, where you know, my bills are paid. That gives me, that to me, that's wealth. The fact that I have peace of mind at night and I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm not worried about something that I can't afford, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. You know, and each time I'm able to pay something off, you know, be it, you know, something large like a house, like a car, like my student loans. Oh my God. You know, I didn't even borrow much money, which also says that there's, to me, some craziness that goes on with having a student loan. When I started my student loan, it was real small. The percentage was real small. But by the time I finished my degree and started looking at paying it back, good morning, Joyce, good morning, Gloria, what I found to be horrible was the fact that the administration in Washington had upped the level of percentage, and so my loan went from, I think, 2.95% to 8.1%. Excuse me, I'll never get it paid off. And I did not pay my loan off until I retired from the federal government. That's how, good morning, girlfriend. That's how I ended up retiring with that albatross off my neck. Otherwise, I would have still been launched with that. So I always tell young people, this was what I sold to them. If you're looking at, you know, going back to school, go back to a school that at least has reasonable tuition, and maybe you can stay at home for 2 years. I said to minimize the amount of debt. Debt on young people is huge. And it comes with, at 18 and they're right in college, what do they get in the mail? A credit card. A high interest credit card. So you have a credit card that's 25%, and you're a person who loves going to the mall, and even though it starts with only $800, $1,000, before you know it, you've gone to the $1,000. And then next thing they said, well, we're going to, you know, because you're paying your minimum, we're going to go ahead and give you a larger amount of money. So before you know it, you're like all of us in America. We've been exposed to credit. We've been exposed to what it does to us, and we've been exposed to forever getting out of it. Forever, because it is meant to as a control mechanism. So the seed I sow on that is, take your time. Don't, you know, just because you get it in the mail doesn't mean that you have to activate it. Okay? Shred it up. And what you can pay for cash, or use your little debit card and be done with it. Don't overdraft. You know, just telling people things, young people things that make sense. They make sense to me, you know, and I would hope that they would make sense to those of you who have young people grandchildren, children. It makes sense, that life has bumps in the road. It has some valleys and it has some hills, and we want to stay out of the valley as much as we can, and we can go uphill as long as it's in a forward and positive way. But we don't want to go uphill trying to pay a bill that is just so exorbitant that we never get finished. So that's a seed I sow. That's my seed that I give to young people. If you have a seed that you sow to young people, write it in there. Write it in there. So when we look at sow, the planting of seeds, what seeds are you planting? What seeds are you planting? Who do you plant it with? Who do you plant it for? Is it just financial? Are you just talking about, well, when I'm gone, I'll leave them this? Or do you plant the seeds now? Do you let them know that I will help you with something as long as you put in your share? That would be a nice seed. Are you looking at helping them if they're struggling with an educational program? That would be a nice seed. So it's constantly looking at what is a forwardness for planting the who you are into what someone else can be. That's what I mean when I talk about to sow. Helping people move along while I'm also helping myself, because to me, if you're helping somebody, you're also helping yourself. Good morning, Tawana. And so you're helping yourself move forward, and that's important. So when we talk about sow, I'm going to ask you this question. What have you recently sown? Have you helped somebody? Have you given someone something? Have you, helped them organize something that they were having trouble with? What have you helped somebody with a sow that you just came up with? It wasn't told to you, just felt like you needed to do something special for somebody. The second question is, why even sow? Why would you bother with sowing something for somebody? Why? And I'm not talking about the stitch. I'm talking about, just planting seeds, planting something in them, giving them something to take forward. What would you do with that? And lastly, the question is, the spreading of wealth for you is what? What is the spreading of wealth? Good morning, Iris. What is the spreading of wealth? And that would be sow again. So how would you look at wealth? Is it just money? And I'm not saying that I turn my back on money. If somebody has some money for me, I say, give it to me. Yes, thank you. Thank you. But if not, and I have to make my own money, I'm going to do that. I'm going to work towards that goal. But if I can help somebody else along the way, which is what I try to do with these sessions and what I've tried to do since I retired from the federal government, is really look at getting people from being stuck. Are you stuck is legitimate, because we're all going to get stuck about whatever it is, over money, over a job, over relationships. Sometimes even family will get us stuck. In fact, they're saying there's just such a rise in issues, family issues, just because people have fallen to, trouble in the home. Once everybody's in it, it became troublesome. In fact, last night, I guess it was Sunday night, they went to someone's home recently here, and the boyfriend had killed his girlfriend and the stepfather. How could something get that volatile? I don't want to be around it. I would certainly, and I'm quite sure there might have been signs, but sometimes we don't always know. People don't always tell us how things are really going, and if the hurts are there, and so many things. And it says the spreading of wealth is sharing unconditionally. Absolutely. To share unconditionally. Spreading love to my family. I miss doing it since the pandemic. Absolutely. Me too. I, at times I felt like, wow, all of my nieces and nephews, they're all, in New York or Atlanta. I'm not traveling there. I'm not going. So, so as far as I'm concerned, it's just my daughter and I. That's it. And all of my church friends and all my friends. I mean, I've really been blessed. I've blessed that people have sown into me. I remember being sick and they still sold. I remember being, when my husband died, they still sold. I remember when just different things were going on during the hurricanes. People still sold something in me, and that was wonderful. So sometimes you just never know where your blessings are going to come from, but they come. They come. And if you bless back, guess it's a reciprocal thing. It's wonderful. When you've been a blessing to somebody else, somebody will be a blessing to you. I truly believe that. That is the greatest sow ever. And it doesn't always say that your wealth is in your money. Your wealth is in your peace of mind. Your wealth is in the spreading of love. Your wealth is in just so many things of how you sown to others. And I'm quite sure, Deborah, your family loves you back, just like you love them and love, doing things for them. And I'm quite sure all of you, we said we are blessed by you. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is very kind. Very kind. Thank you so much. Thank you. My prayer is that that's what I want to be. Is that I'm sowing every day. Every day I put out that SOW that just says LOVE. I love you only because. There's no money in this for me. Nobody's picked up my channel, and I watch some of the silly stuff that people do, and it's interesting to me that the silly stuff gets money, but the serious stuff, the kind stuff, the loving stuff, the sharing stuff, it doesn't get as much light. But one day, if it's supposed to, it will. And even if it doesn't come with me and it comes with somebody else, then I'm sowing the seed, and that's it. Absolutely, Deborah. Church family too. Absolutely. We are a gifted people. The fact that we recognize the importance of what our love is for each other and our love and kindness is for others. And so when you come into this space, I don't try to make it where, this isn't holy ground. I'm not a preacher. I'm none of that. None of that. Because occasionally I do make mistakes. Occasionally I cuss, not very often. But I know people who do, and they put enough of that seedling down for me to say, whoo, okay. So I just try to be the Sandy that I am and be hopefully the light that God's given me. He just gave me this opportunity to want to do it and feeling fearless about doing it. That's what kills me. The fact that I said on a challenge, I'm going to do it. And here I am, 100 and some odd. Good morning, Angelique. 100 and some odd videos later, I'm still standing. So that's really good. I want everyone to have a wonderful, wonderful day, regardless of what Sally does. But Sally's been known to must be a Mustang. Okay, I'm playing with you now. But anyway, I want you to just have a great day. Be safe. If you see there's standing water, don't go through it. Don't go through it. Just do all that you can do to be safe as you can. And what I say is, I'm just gonna love you. I hope you'll be here tomorrow. We'll come up with another thing. And you know what? I never make these too far in advance because a lot of times it's my environment of what I've gone through or watched on TV or just has been in my heart. Good morning, love. That's so sweet. Of all the things that I've encountered over the 24 hours before I see you again. And that's what I bring. That's exactly what I bring. Oh, it says, Maurice says, you are a child of God doing God's daily will. Thank you, Maurice. Maurice, can I adopt you? Maurice, let me tell you how I met Maurice. I'm going to just tell you this real quick. We crashed Maurice's wedding. He and his wife, Gwendolyn, were getting married, and they were in the room next to us down at the I think we were at Sanders Beach. No. We were at the New World Landing, And child, we messed up. We went on up in there. We started dancing. Now we were at our pastor's anniversary, but his was good. But we wanted to go party a little bit, so we just went. We opened the doors and went on in. He invited us in, and it's been a love fest ever since. We love that guy. You have to go to his channel and watch the usher during pandemic. He is the pandemic usher, and so good, so good. So he makes, in fact, Sunday's video was about how people put money in, or maybe $1, maybe just pennies, into the coin collector, and how he gets to one, and not only do they not put any money in, but they took some money out. I haven't even commented on that one yet, but I have to get around to it. But this has been a busy day. But anyway, I love you all. I hope to see you tomorrow. I thank you for stopping in. And we good. We are good. We're gonna be here tomorrow. If one comes, I'm still gonna be doing it. If no one comes, you can go back and look later. But anyway, you have a blessed day. Be safe. And if we don't have any electricity tomorrow because the wires are so waterlogged, I'll see you when I can, okay? Love you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day and be safe.